Hashem, Naaseh v'Natzliach. Okay, Baruch Hashem, we're going to talk about one of the most important components of conditioning, and it's not the gym, it's eating properly. Because I would estimate that good health and good conditioning is 80% of what you eat and 20% of your fitness, your exercise. Okay, that number one. And number two, a principle that I want everyone to remember, that we have a creator that created the world, created us, and created our food. And just like the head of Mitsubishi knows what to put in that car, he writes in the owner's manufacturer model what to put in that car, what kind of gas, what kind of oil. The manufacturer writes what to put in our bodies. So the closer it is to the way it's created, the healthier it is, which means you want to stay away from junk food. You want to stay away from manufactured food. The more that food is manipulated, especially genetically modified, and especially all types of hybrids, you want to stay away from that because your body doesn't know, your DNA does not know how to digest that food.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that I knew that growing up. My parents, my mother, I remember very vividly going to the farmer's market during the summer. We were one of the first people, now it's across the US, but one of the first farmers to ever do delivery. So we would have people come to our porch to pick up fresh produce from the farm every Tuesday or Wednesday, the Kretschmann farm. So if you're in Pittsburgh, you can find them. But what's interesting about it is this is before it was trendy. And what I found when I got into my teenage years and started choosing my own foods, I felt different. It took me about 20 years to realize why. And that's when I started learning more about nutrition, because my clients are coming in 3, 4. I've not had that many in 5 days. I don't really believe in working out that much in a structure. But they were seeing good results, but we just couldn't get the weight to come off. We couldn't get their energy to come up. And a lot of it is really what you're putting in the body and how it's processed, well, how it's broken down as opposed to processed. So the 80-20 rule, absolutely, because you're only working out in the gym. Let's say you're a top athlete, 2.5, 3 hours a week, a day, 3 days a week, 4 days a week. What's happening the rest of the time? And what are you doing to adapt? What's happening in the body? So what about the different foods? So yes, with the processed foods, like how do we select? Does it mean we need to go raw? Does it mean we need to go vegan? Like how do we select the foods?
Okay, first of all, you could say what's sad, what makes a person sad is standard American diet. Okay, standard American diet where they say the no fat. Oh yeah, they sell the manufacturers sell you no fat, but it's so full of so many saccharides and so many chemicals your body doesn't know what to do with it. The best way to do, let's take a reverse pyramid. Let's take at the top, let's take the pyramid, the base we'll put at the top. The big part of that pyramid is your vegetables. Vegetables, 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 especially green vegetables. It's great for the digestion, it's great fiber. The body loves fiber. The body loves green vegetables. The heart loves chlorophyll. Everything. Start with green vegetables. Then with the green vegetables, we'll go a little bit, we'll take with the fruit. Now fruit's got to be limited because the fruit has, even though fructose, it's natural, it's connected with the fiber. It's much better than any sugars that you have in nature, okay, because it's connected with the fiber. But maybe you don't want to limit yourself. You want to limit yourself to no more than 3 servings of fruit a day, okay? You don't want to sit down and have a party on a whole watermelon, all right? Now we have our basic nutriments, our vitamins. Now we need our protein. We need our protein. We need our protein for our muscle mass. We need our protein for skin. We need our protein, okay? And while we're speaking, minerals, we need for our bones, we're getting minerals. Also our calcium, we're getting that from our veggies, we're getting that from our protein. And now we come down and we have a little bit narrower in the pyramid, but they're fats, important fats. Fat is not a curse word. Fat is important. Nothing great for you, avocado. Great for you, salmon, grilled salmon, omega-3 fats. The body loves it. And understand that most of the vitamins in the body are oil-soluble vitamins, not water-soluble, which means that you have to have good fat, good quality fat, almonds, unprocessed almonds. In other words, not toasted and salted, but natural dried almonds, natural dried nuts, peanuts. You talk about magnesium and manganese, pumpkin seeds, dried pumpkin seeds. Sprinkle these in your salads. They're fantastic. That's why if you see a Brody salad, they've got all this kind of, all the seeds in them and the nuts in them, and everything, the whole thing, really protein. Okay, if you're a vegan, you can make do if you get enough of that seed protein. But if you're vegan, make sure you've got a source for B12. Okay, B12, you already have it. And as soon as you go into animal protein, you're okay in B12 because B12 is in eggs already and in poultry. I like lean poultry. Don't need extra in other animal fat. You want to stay away from animal fat. Okay, but vegetable fat, and fat from fish, sardines, very good, omega-3, because you get the iodine with that also, and that's it. And once again, stay away from manufactured foods. Believe me, okay, I said believe me, you don't have to believe me, but I've got a little experience in that.
It's not just experience, you also have 2 degrees in this, first degree and a secondary, master's.
Right, okay, my first degree is in agriculture, University of Maryland. My second degree is in agriculture, products, technology, and now I got to ask forgiveness from Hashem, because in agriculture, products, technology, you learn how to use all types of chemicals to make processed products out of agriculture products. For example, what do you do to a piece of meat? And manufacturers do this now to make a lot of money. Take a piece of meat. You know how you make soap powder? Suppose I want to get grit out of Menachem's cotton shirt, okay, where he's got fibers in that cotton shirt. If I take water and just put water on it, we look at it under a microscope, that water molecule will stand on top of the fiber of the shirt. Can't do that. But I take soap powder that's made out of phosphates, it flattens out the water molecule, where the water molecule can penetrate within the fibers. The manufacturers do the same thing with meat. They take a water molecule, inject it in meat, put phosphates in that water, so that inject the meat with water, and you buy processed meat, even though the manufacturers say 10% water, it's not 10% water. They add other things. They add modified starches. They add artificial proteins, soy protein isolate, and it's really about 25 to 30% water. And you buy that nice piece of meat for your Shabbat meal, and it shrinks down. What happened to this piece of meat?
Yes.
It weighed 2 pounds, and now it's barely a pound. That's that. So what you want to do, if you do eat meat, try to stay as organic as you can. If you can't be organic, at least non-processed meat. Get meat that's not processed, reliable. And whatever you want to do, stay away from GMO. Stay away from GMO. It's worth, your body will thank you to go organic.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that, but that's something that I learned, and I actually went through the precision nutrition program because I just wanted to formalize things, but a lot of it was exactly what you were saying. I was so shocked, and it's funny you mentioned the meat because that was kind of my aha moment when I decided to go vegan, was exactly that. And then I started reading, I'm like, wow. So I paid for 2.5 pounds, it was almost a kilo of hamburger meat, and we barely got four patties out of it, barely, the small ones. And that's one of the things I think a lot of people nowadays, especially endurance athletes, they use a lot of these highly processed products. For me, Samson, one of my good friends and first athletes, I remember we were racing on Passover, and because none of the products were kosher for Passover, he took grape juice in his bottle, and he took baked potato. And aside from the grape juice not being a great idea because it was in the sun, he had a fantastic race. His problem was with the grape juice, he didn't take water. But now there's a big movement for on-bike, eating whole foods, so to speak. I know one of the guys I was in a program takes kiwis. So there's a lot of different variations, even though the marketing is telling us you need all these processed foods.
Yeah,
you
and
have
don't
to
let
eat
them
these
eat it.
things.
Look at Menachem. Menachem, how tall are you, 6'2"?
6'2".
6'2". Menachem is 6'2", and look at the broad. You don't need meat to look like this, okay? You don't need meat. Now, there's only one difference. I eat meat for Shabbat. A little bit of meat for Shabbat. That's all the Shabbat. Another thing, okay. The rest of the week is all vegan. And there's something else. Eat what your body needs. And your body has different needs when it's 20 and different needs when it's 70, okay? When you're in building or you're in maintenance, there's difference between an architect, he's got design, and difference between a maintenance engineer and he's in maintenance. And what about these 20-year-olds?
So I know a couple Division I NCAA basketball players, now they're professional football players. We look, I got a ride from a couple of them coming across Pittsburgh, and the whole trunk was filled with ho-hos, ding-dongs, all the junk food, Twizzlers, chocolate. In December, this is 15 years ago, and I follow them on social media, and I see they don't look that healthy. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm picking up clues that maybe diabetes is starting to, so it takes time. It's a slow cook, but it's also about finding balance. So you mentioned you have meat on Shabbat. I have challah. My wife is like, oh, I feel bad giving it to Matan because it's processed, but it's only on Shabbat. We don't have bread in our house the rest of the week. if we have some left over after, usually it lasts, and I feel awful because it's, challah.
So the Brody IE family has bread on Shabbat. The Brody Y family also has bread on Shabbat, but it's bread that Rabbi Yudit makes. It's homemade, spelt bread, no additives.
That's where we're going next. And right now it's just she's working on working, finding that time.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
And you have to understand what Menachem talked about the NCAA athletes, the pro athletes, and that he knew back in Pittsburgh. Eating is like going to a restaurant. You have to understand, the guy went to the restaurant and he ate everything on the menu, and then the waiter came and he gave him a bill. The bill $850. The coach goes, sure, $850. The waiter said, listen, sir, I didn't eat that. You ate that. I served it all. It's right here on the menu. Now you got to pay for it. It's the same thing with the body. What you put in your mouth at 20, you're going to have to pay the bill either at 30, at 40, 50, 60, or 70. And people come in with all types of pains, osteoporosis, joint pains, diabetes, heart. We're not even going with the blood pressure and all the salt they eat with the junk food. You're going to pay for it. Stop and think. Life is not just what people used to say in Rome, I'm going to eat today and the heck with tomorrow. They're saying it nicely.
Yeah. And the thing that's interesting about it is that, especially in classic American, you think that, guys get to their mid-30s, mid-40s, and they put on the weight and they want to lose it. I was just on a podcast a couple weeks ago, and one of them, Mike, it's a co-host, said, a lot of guys, you can't picture yourself when you're 40, when you're 50. And I had this aha moment where one of my coaches when I was in high school, may he rest in peace, my powerlifting coach, Doc Alkoff, Brody, don't think about what you look like at 40. Look better than you did today. Have that in your mind. Sorry, I try and do his voice. But a lot of it is we can picture how we look like in high school. If we didn't like it, we know exactly what we want to change. And then we can make that change. And a lot of it starts with the nutrition. I eat more fruits than 3 or 4, but that's what my body likes. So instead of having chocolate or other things, I have a little Toblerone in my bag today. If my sugar drops and I don't have time, I'll go to that. But it's such a rare occurrence that so many people have that, and that's what they do, and then they replace it with another. So how do we get that habit broken?
Here's something important. What Menachem mentioned. Menachem does what's right for him. And you have to understand there is an idea that's called biochemical individuality. Biochemical individuality. Just like he has a different soul than I do, even though he's Brody and I'm Brody, but he's got an IE at the end of his name, I got a Y at the end of the name, because when our grandparents came to America, they translated it different, but it's really the same family. Okay, so Menachem's got his biochemical individuality. What he eats is not necessarily good for Lazer. I'll give you an example. People talk about sugars and sugars. I talk about sugars. Stay away from sugars. But you will see once in the morning and once in the evening, Lazer Brody takes in his Dutch choco, okay, with no milk, Dutch choco, a big spoon of natural honey.
Nice.
Natural honey. This does the way for my digestion, fantastic. Regularity, it's really important. A lot of seniors have problem regularity. This works for me. For somebody else, it's no good. You do what's good for you, what works for you. Just like you have your own body, you have your own soul. And the same law of body applies to soul. Accountability of the body, accountability of the soul. A person can't do something. You can't do damage to another person and say, oh, the heck with it. No. You're going to have to pay the bill. You have to pay the bill. The same thing with the body. The body's got to be accountable, and the soul's got to be accountable. Okay, that's the secret, really the secret to nutrition. So you remember, you want to stay away from the white stuff. In Israel, there's slang. It's called Lavan. Lavan is street slang for cocaine. But Lavan means white. It means white. You want to stay away from that addictive. White sugar is so addictive. And that's why the manufacturers put it in the Coke and put it in the candies and put it in that. Stay away from the white sugar. Stay away from the white flour. Empty carbs. Empty carbs. If the body good, you see the kids come, and the kids maybe has, for breakfast, corn flakes or sugar flakes and Coke, and then in 10, he's either crashing or swinging from the rafters, and they say the child's got ADHD. Well, Mom, why don't you give him an omelet and a tomato for breakfast?
And that's a commitment. Like, my wife is very on top of what my son is eating all the time, making fresh foods. We are very careful about salt, very, very careful about sugar. He enjoys fruits, but we meter it. throughout the day. And as a parent, I now understand the thought process behind other parents of it's a simple win, but that simple win sets them down a path. There was just an article from Israel published about highly processed foods can affect bone growth for kids. I mean, now this is 2021 and we're still seeing the evidence is so overwhelming, and yet so many folks are still going down that process. So you can come in the gym all you want and do all the strength training, but if you're not putting the right fuel in, you're not going to get the results you're looking for.
To talk about the children, well, Menachem just mentioned with his son Matan, he should be healthy, grow up healthy, him and the ones on the way. Okay, but people come to me and they say, Rabbi Lazer, my kids don't want to eat lettuce. My kids don't want to eat cucumbers. Okay, folks, there you go. So what's the answer to that? Smoothie. Invest in a blender. Invest in a blender. The way to get your kids to eat lettuce and cucumbers, you make a smoothie with your green veggies, and you put in there, the kids, they could do it natural honey, even better, natural majul dates, where you have the dates are in the fiber. They're great. They're great. And that tasted it. And then mothers said, you don't want to drink milk? It's because you're completely vegan. You don't want cow milk? That's fine. What you want to do is take a couple of handfuls of almonds, fresh almonds, put them in the blender with 5 times the amount of water. In other words, if you've got 100 grams of almonds, a half a liter of water, maybe 600 milliliters of water, and then 3 or 4 big Israeli majul dates, and you've got almond milk. Put it in your cup, fantastic. Now that's got no preservatives. It's only be good in your refrigerator for 48 hours, but that way you make it fresh all the time.
Yeah, it's a little bit of planning, but this is your health. You know, it's going to come back, and look at how he's moving. You've seen the series here. He's moving fantastic. It all plays together. As Joel Proskowitz says, everything matters. So it's not just coming in and doing the weights. It's not just practicing meditation or gratitude or taking care of the nutrition. It all comes together. Each one is a different sprocket in the giant, we'll call it the machine that is your body and your overall health. And I honestly don't know any heavy deadlifters. Maybe they're agnostic, but they have a belief in something else that is driving them to do that. And that's something I think a lot of cyclists know well, and triathletes. That dark place, there's a drive, there's that heart, there's something else that's driving you. And if you can find the right balance with everything, both from the nutritional side, the mental side, the physical side, you can really reinvent yourself and go 10 steps forward.
To go to the final thing, if we're going now from our physical coaching to our spiritual coaching, is as soon as you can internalize the fact that your body, it doesn't make sense that the Creator make a body that's here for 70, 80 years and then it rots in the ground. Have to understand, and why should we love one another? What's the importance about it? That Menachem's got it in his brain. There's a little microchip, and it's a tiny spark of Hashem. It's called the neshama. It's called the soul. I've got the same thing. This is part of our Father in heaven. So if he's a son of the Creator and I'm a son of the Creator, then we're brothers. And we can see each other's souls. If we look at bodies, maybe there's a lot to differentiate between us. Oh, look at our age difference. Look at our appearance difference. There's so much difference. But when we look at souls, man, we're brothers. We're together. We're together to 120. This is the way you got to do it. You look, and this is your balance. When you realize that your body is you're eating for your soul, and your soul is eternal. But your soul is here to correct what it needs to correct, and your body is the soul's chauffeur. Not only that, start at a young age. Parents, if you want to teach the kids to eat properly, if you don't live it, you can't give it. You have to be, you can't tell them, eat this and eat that, and then mom and dad go and eat what they want, and they smoke cigarettes and live on martinis. It doesn't work like that. When they see mom and dad hit the blender, dad comes off the tennis court, and he hits the blender, he's making his green smoothie. Hey, Dad, what are you making? Green smoothie. They say, Dad's cool, he's a great tennis player. So little Mikey and little Nancy, they want to be like mom and dad. They'll piece the action. Okay, so when you eat properly, your kids will eat properly, and you'll see, and you have a big blessing in your family. You'll be healthy, and what our blessing is for you, is that you should also be dancing, all be dancing at the weddings of your great-grandchildren.
It's all come together. A question for you. What about those out there who maybe aren't as spiritual? They're like, hey, you know what? I just do this for fun. How it affects you, whether or not you believe in a soul or not, how you feel, how you act. The big thing right now is meditation, all these apps for meditation and gratitude. Like it's not just, it
Okay,
is.
there's a thing. Just understand one thing. All right, we're not talking. We're not selling religion. Heaven forbid. We're not selling religion. But here's one thing: if a person is only a body, then every day is a day closer to the grave. That's pretty pessimistic. Pretty pessimistic. So what do you do to keep a smile on your face? You can add some spirituality. Realize that you have a soul, and realize that that soul, this is your life force. Okay, and if you want to look for the truth, you'll find the truth. Okay, where's your life force come from? Just start looking. Start looking, you'll find it.
Awesome. Everything comes together, everything matters. So we covered a lot in this video, actually. We talked about green smoothies, we talked about processed foods, some of the science behind it, as well as the balance overall.
Now give our viewers a little hint. We gave them a blessing that they should be able to dance the weddings of their great-grandchildren. And our next vid, we're going to tell them how to do that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about senior fitness, and we're going to help you guys be able to see it's small things, it's not giant ones, and regardless of your starting age, regardless of what you've done before, maybe it's just a simple 1 or 2 small things in your daily life that just revitalizes you and has you moving way better.
Good. God bless.